last 1 month actually now, he's on fluids. So,
Yeah, right. Okay.
so
So
every day
easy,
like
is he
air
at home? Is he at home?
no, no KDU, the Kotalavala, the
Ah,
hospital.
right, right, right.
Yeah,
So,
so that's why.
so that is a, you must be really stressed out, isn't it? I
Yeah,
believe.
of course. And the other assignments are because like I have to go to work also,
Yeah, I
and
know. I know.
there's a caretaker, but you have to be behind them, otherwise they won't read because he
Yeah.
can't talk or speak or nothing. So because
Oh,
of
right.
that.
Okay. 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 Right, Erin. So, did you get my latest feedback?
Yeah, I got the feedback what you have sent, sir, on
When? When did you get it?
that is which is on the Moodle on the 520. Latest is that one, right? Which I submitted after that. That one I got it.
Yeah, the final one you got, right?
Yeah, the percentage you have said 25%, 10% like that, and after referring that only, I submitted the 521 with like the contents and resubmitted. So
Right.
I
Okay. So Erin, now I don't know whether, yeah. So the thing is this. Now, where the contents are concerned, I
right,
don't have a problem with the contents, right?
right,
So
okay,
but what is important is whatever you do, it has to fall in line with the requirements of the format, the research format, right?
okay,
Otherwise, what is going to happen is, they will they can basically reject it because on the basis that it is not academically sound. So
right,
for that to be academically sound, it has to
right,
fall in line with the research structure. Okay.
right.
So the contents per se, it's there, but only thing is it needs to be better organized, right? So
Oh,
there is a logical flow in what you are trying to say. Okay,
right,
because otherwise, what is going to happen is it'll look as if you are trying to write an article. Now, article for an article, yes, this is good, but then for a research, there is a specific way that they want us to sort of present what we intend saying. Okay,
right, right.
so um, the introduction, okay, that it sort of describes the problem, and it also is supported with some data and justifications. But
Yeah,
see, some things like this, like the definition of terms, right? Now that is not um, required for the introduction. The
oh,
definition of terms that you have put in here is more suited for the literature review. This chapter 2,
all
right?
right,
Because there only you need to explore the concepts and the variables, and there you can actually come up and talk about the variables or talk about the definitions of these terms, right?
right.
So that is number one. So basically the introduction, the problem per se, I don't have a major issue with that, because you have introduced it well, and then supported with the data. But the research question, now research question has to be constructed as a question. You can't construct it as a statements and then give and provide a paragraph on that, right?
Right.
Right. So
Okay.
research, it's a bit too descriptive, but what he can do is
Mhm.
um, um, some of the things that you have already discussed under the research question, right?
That is research problem you're referring to 1.2 on my assignment.
No, I'm referring to research question. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. I'll open up. I'm actually looking at the comments that I have made. Ah, right. So,
1.3. Yeah, 1.3.
okay. So 1.2.
3.
So research problem and all, that's okay because you have actually quantified and all. But some of these
Yeah.
definitions are misplaced. Like, for example, definition for adaptive clothing, right? Adaptive clothing usage and all these things, right?
Yeah.
Should come under the literature review, because you won't have anything to say under the literature review. You do it here, right?
Ah, okay, okay.
Because these definitions of terms and all has to come there.
Ah,
Now,
right.
research questions. Okay, under research question 1.3, right?
Yeah.
So this should be constructed as a question, and then you can actually describe the question a little bit. But what I propose is
Okay.
that the research question should be constructed in such a way that it sort of links. It is able to link logically to your literature review. So for that, what I'm saying is you need to look at the variables that you will be handling in this research, right?
Right.
So what I suggest is you redefine the research question. I have just proposed something for you. And I said,
Okay.
does personal versus socio-economic factors influence adaptive clothing needs? Right? And it
Right.
becomes very simple and make it very simple as that. But you can weave around that. You can explore around that particular research question.
Right.
Have I made myself clear? Right? So
Okay.
So,
Right.
your research question, I suggest something like, does personal versus socio-economic factors influence adaptive clothing needs? Very simple, very strict, very straightforward. And now you can expand on that when you do your literature review. You can expand more on that when you do your literature review. Then, because literature review, what you would be doing is to take in the variables out, the research
Okay.
question, the variables like personal versus socio-economic factors. What are these? Now, literature review is a place where you can expand on that, right? What do you mean by personal versus socio-economic factors, right? What do you mean by adaptive clothing needs, right? What are you trying to sort of say regarding the relationship between these two? So all these things can come in the literature review, right?
Right. Okay.
Got it? So
Yeah.
here in your introduction, make it as simple as possible. You have got a business problem, research problem. You have done that, and then you have provided some data, and then research question. Research question. It's a more of a summarized version of a question that encompasses all what you are intend doing in your research. Got it?
Right. It should
So
not
then,
be more than, I think, 4 5 paras, right? What I'm saying is, and
no, 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 no. I mean, that's
and
actually divis the entire thing. So all your discussion can come in the literature review, right?
right.
All the
Yeah.
discussions. But remember, having said that, you need to be careful. When I say all the discussion can come under literature review, it's all about what other people have said about these two variables. That is important in your literature review, not what you are saying, right? What
Right.
you are saying should come when you do your findings and analysis in chapter 4, right? Now,
Analysis. Okay.
most of what you have basically done here is you are you are basically communicating the issues, you are communicating the factors, you are communicating the relationship between these, right? You are arguing out your case. Now that has to be done, right? When you write your findings and analysis chapter, not here. Here it's more on the actual problem. What is this problem? To make the reader understand what the real issue is, not the root causes, not the reasons for the problem to exist. That has to come when you do your findings and analysis. Have I made myself clear on this?
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So here, the research question, if I say, does personal versus socio-economic factors influence adaptive clothing needs? You are clear about the two main variables, and under those variables, you will have sub-variables. So that can be explored in your literature review, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then you can say, under the research question, you can say that the study would be done on people with disabilities in the Western province in Sri Lanka, and so forth and on,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's actually like a pyramid sort of structure where you summarize your question, and then under that question, right, you expand them into the details in the areas that you want to explore, right?
Right. Yeah.
Then now aim should tell us what you intend doing with the outcome of your research. Now that is very specific. Now once your research is over, what do you intend doing with with the results of your report?
Mm, that
You
whatever,
yeah
whoever
you
the people can
yeah,
be
you can
addressed.
say, basically you can say you can assist somebody. You can what do you call assistant. You can talk about assisting an organization. You can say you can write a book or something like that. You can say you can um, provide information relating to this particular issue so that the relevant parties can sort of take on board your
Yeah.
results and then find resolutions for that. That kind of thing. Okay.
Uh-uh.
So
Some
it's about aim is sorry.
local fashion brand, just an example. If I
Yeah.
contact, let's say, Limit, now they don't have adaptive clothing range now. So
Hmm.
some one of the local brands to give my model proposal. So that kind of a thing, can I say the best of practice?
Absolutely spot on. You can say you can approach the brands and then tell them the importance of focusing on adaptive clothing and then give them that
Yeah.
sort of impetus for them to sort of adapt or adopt some of these things into their marketing strategies and so forth and all. Right.
Right.
Right. So that is
So
aim.
that's the research
Come again.
1.4.
Yeah. So that is your aim. Now objectives. Generally, what happens is your objectives. You've got 1.5A, 1.5B, 1.5C. Um,
Yeah.
Now the thing is, objectives should basically say how you intend doing the research, right? Now, this is like, for example, 1.5A is taking into consideration the population of Sri Lanka. I hope to do the research targeting different age groups, but that is very general, isn't it? How do you intend? How are you going to do the research, right? How are you going to collect data? From where are you going to collect data, right?
Right.
Then 1.5B, you have said age care homes, child care centers, and normal population with the help of so blah 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 blah. It's a little bit um,
Much
too
elaborated.
hazy too hazy there. So what I propose is when you talk about um, 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 give me a sec. Right. So research objectives should be described using words such as analyze, assess, explain, explore, study, review. So words like that should be used when you define your objectives, right? Now I've
Right.
given you some examples here, right? Based on what you have already said. I've said example one should be analyze how differently able people can be made socially accepted while at the same time maintaining their individuality.
Hmm?
Got it?
Right. Right.
Example two could be assess how adaptive clothes can be designed to hide the obvious adaptiveness so that the differentiation between adaptive and normal clothes is softened. Got it?
Yeah. The difference of those two. Right.
That's then example three could be review literature on the concepts of adapting clothing and personal versus economic factors, along with the relationships between them. So that is how you need to define the objectives. What you intend doing in your research is what should be reflected in your objectives.
So first thing is collection of the data thing, and second is the adaptive versus a normal, the difference, and then why adaptive is required to the whoever the target groups I'm hoping to
That's
have the
right.
research.
Yeah. And then you can talk about assess how adaptive clothes can be designed to hide the obvious adaptiveness, and so the differentiation between adaptive and normal clothes is softer, something like that, right? Got it?
Right.
But there's one additional objective that needs to come in, that is review of literature. Now that is a important fact, that you need to review literature. on the concepts of adaptive clothing and these personal versus economic factors alongside with the. So what writers have said, in other words, what writers have said about these variables and the relationship between the variables. Are you with me?
Yeah. So that means what writers have said means I have to put the references in Harvard style there or no need of that?
Absolutely. In your literature review, not here. In your
Okay.
literature review.
Right.
Now,
Quotations
yeah,
like that.
I don't know whether you got this. Give me a sec. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Did you get my feedback on this? This
Yeah,
feedback?
I got it. Actually, based on that only I made the second assignment. Yeah.
No, not the second. Now, after the second assignment, I gave a feedback for the second assignment as well. Did you get
Oh.
it?
That's it.
I have not marked, I have not graded you on that, but I gave you some feedback.
No, I think.
So this is what I'm referring to.
All right.
I specifically said what needs to get into the introduction, So what I'll do is I will get Jamie and them to forward this to you, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So because this has all what we discussed now, right, in the previous few
And if
minutes.
I can have the recording of this today's conversation as well as this one, then I think I should be able to
Yes.
put
Yes.
together
Put
and
together. Right. So
yeah,
so
yeah.
so that's your introduction. So get your introduction because that's a platform on which you will be building your research, and then you should be okay. So once that is done, because anyway this is not your research, this is your proposal. You're trying to provide
So
some
no,
proposal. You have to say what you are going to do later on. That is the whole purpose of the proposal. But it has to be home down on a firm platform. Otherwise, uh, you'll be just wasting your time later on, right?
yeah,
So I'll send this to you. So that's your introduction. So introduction forms a basis, and then when you move into your literature review, you
yeah,
have to now. I have specified it. The literature review should be linked to the research question always. In the research question, you would have defined the variables and then asked the question regarding
yeah.
the relationship between the variables. Now that is what should drive your literature review.
Mm.
But in this case, it's about what writers have said about these two concepts and the relationship between and then you need to critique that. Did the writers say the same thing? Did they say different things? Did they contradict with each other? Did they agree, disagree? Whatever it is, it's all about, what writers have said about these concepts, about adaptive clothing, about the use of adaptive clothing, about the garment industry, um, you know, focusing on uh, producing adaptive clothing, and also the fact that the requirements for the differently enabled people to be absorbed into the community, absorbed into society. So all these things need to come in your literature review. Got it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct.
So once that is done, then your methodology, right? Generally, in your methodology section, you have to say what your
Right.
research philosophy is. You can just leave that aside, or else you can refer to um some of the definitions of the research philosophy that you did when you did your research methods, right?
Okay.
Um, but what is more important is the data collection strategies. So now you will be trying to find the answer to the research question, right?
Right.
So it's all about collecting data. So you need to now proceed and tell us how you intend collecting data. So you can collect data via questionnaires. You can collect data via interviewing people. So if you collect data via questionnaires and surveys, that's called quantitative data. If you
Yeah.
are going to collect data via interviews, those are qualitative data.
Yeah.
So how do you intend collecting your data, right? How you
Right.
intend, it doesn't mean that you can always change this later on a little bit, but then in this, for the proposal, you need to say how you intend doing the, how you intend collecting the data, right? So you can say,
Right.
I'm going to do the, I'm going to do a survey. I'm going to prepare a survey and a questionnaire and then distribute it among people. So who are these people who you will be using, right? Are
Yeah.
these employees in the government industry? Are these somebody else? Then you can say that's for your survey, for your quantitative data, for your qualitative data. Sorry, you can say I'll be interviewing some key people, right? So you can say
Okay.
I'll be interviewing about 4 or 5 key people uh, to pick their brains because they are obviously going to be experts in these. So you'd like to pick their brains on what they think about these concepts and the relationship between the concepts.
That means like the caretakers kind of a thing, doctors and
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So you need to say who you intend interviewing to gain qualitative data, whom you intend distributing the questionnaires. With the
right.
whole purpose is to answer the research question. Remember,
Right.
answer the research question. And then please proceed with the time plan. That is important. You need a time plan, a Gantt chart. A time plan which says you activity. This is how I intend starting my project. This is how I intend finishing my project. Just a rough time plan. What would
So
be
can I have already the answer let's say I have taken age groups like juniors, seniors, first week, second week, third week, like that. Is that okay, that format, or do I have to revise that and
yeah, you don't have to go to that detail. You don't have to go to that detail. All what you need to do is, okay, what is the first thing that you will be doing? Right? What is the second thing that you would be doing? How long will it take? The third thing. So first thing obviously would be to what? To write your introduction. Now I'm referring to the research, the project. I'm not referring to the proposal. Once the
right,
proposal is out of the way, time plan has to be linked to the research project that you would be doing. So the first
right,
thing would be to finish the chapter 1. Second one would be to finish chapter 2, literature review. And then for that, you will be referring to books and that kind of thing. Third one would be probably to identify the population or the sample size of the population that you will be distributing your questionnaire, right? Then of course
yeah,
you can say I'll take at least 1 week to design the questionnaire. I'll take another 1 week to design the interview questions. Then you can say I'll take about 2 weeks to do the interviews. And in the meantime, I will be distributing the questionnaire among the people. And then all these things will take roughly about 4 weeks, right? And at the end of the 4 weeks, you will be getting the results of the questionnaire and the results of your interviews. Then you will be doing your analysis, right? And then writing the report and then submitting it. So that's your time plan.
right. That means breaking down whatever the steps into
Absolutely.
certain areas and making a time plan according to that.
And designing a time. Okay. Then you
So
can talk of, yeah, then once that is done, then you talk about the ethical considerations. All right. So will you be dealing with youngsters? Will you be dealing with because you are dealing with youngsters, you need to be very careful, right? You need to
yeah,
get the permission of their parents and all this sort of thing. So ethical considerations. So you can put a general comment as saying, right? Um, what do you call juniors will not be actually involved in this, right? You will only actually work with people who are 18 years and above, and
yeah,
then you can always put a general statement saying that you will adhere to the university ethical norms, right? So that you'll ensure that this will not hurt the feelings of our people and marginalize um,
mm,
what you call people from society, and and then also you will ensure that the confidentiality or the privacy of the identity of the people whom you are dealing with will be safeguarded, right?
That is not giving the data to another third party, no? That's
Yeah,
what
not giving the data to another third party, and so forth, and not revealing the names of the people who we are talking about, and
yeah.
so
Okay,
that's
sir.
it, and your references. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
yes, so this is all what you need for your proposal.
Okay.
Because you're not doing the research project as at this point of time. You'll only do it later on. First, you need to actually put in the proposal in.
Right.
So I'll
So
get I will get
then
Jamie to
in this
what do you call, provide you with this feedback which I have given, and
place, yeah.
and then you can start working on the report based on that. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this recording, if I can get, then I can, compare both
Yes,
and yeah,
yes,
I just write it down,
yes.
get an idea. So basically, sir, the around 15 pages should do, no? Not
Yeah,
more
yeah.
than that.
I mean, there is a document, a friendly guide to write in the proposal. That is there
Ah,
on
yeah.
the on the Moodle side. That basically tells you exactly the number of words that are required for each section. So you can you can follow that.
Okay. Right. And at the end of the thing, it will be the references, no? Before that,
References
ethical
are better. At the end of things, will be references.
that I can quote regarding adaptive clothing. The not only Sri Lanka, the like if there's any findings in the
Yeah,
world,
yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be Sri Lanka. Yeah, you're talking about the concepts. Don't limit yourself to a particular geographical location, because then the quality of the report will be diluted. So, I mean, it's a concepts. So take the concepts and find out how other countries um,
they are
have
in a way
approached
a
this problem.
area now. In Sri Lanka, we don't have any other than the Able brand, which is
Yeah,
MS.
yeah,
But I think that also they are not in sale. I have not seen.
yeah,
I as like that.
yeah.
So I might have to take other country
Yeah,
examples
yeah,
as well.
you have to take the other country, because otherwise you'll not you'll not be able to do justice to this very interesting topic. But actually, the topic is very interesting. I was having a discussion with one of the
This
other.
condition, yeah, with my father's condition now, it is got more interesting. Means like I see
Yeah,
my father like, he can't walk and they didn't talk nothing, so he's on the
yeah.
bed. Do
I know,
it.
I can understand the issues, right? I can empathize with you on that, but
Things like
hopefully, everything will be okay in the future.
mm, right, sir.
Okay, Rin.
And
Okay, so I will get Jamie to send you a copy of this, so that you can sort of use this as a reference. Okay.
okay, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I just
Okay.
want to check one thing. In
Yeah.
case this research policy is okay, okay, I send the whatever day.
Yeah.
Then for the timing, let's say I have to start the research, the timing, how much like it is 2 months, 3 months?
Generally, I think you have about 3 months for the research, if I'm not mistaken.
And I'll be getting a supervisor for that also,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You will once a project is signed off, you will get a supervisor,
Ah,
and then
okay. So
you'll be working closely with the supervisor then, after that.
yeah, once I submit this, if it gets okay, then the next step I have to, I think, start, right? Like
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. That's right. With the guidance of the supervisor, you can actually start after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because this is third party work is there, so I have to
Yes,
manage there. So like
yes.
that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Erin, then. Right. Any issues? Just drop me a message or drop me a mail. Right.
Okay.
We'll just see what we can do about it. Okay. Or just speak to Jamie if you have any other issues. Right.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Bye.
Hi, Jamie. Jamie, do you have access to the feedback that I gave in the latest submission? Okay, I will send you that. I have basically send you that. Can you send that feedback, right, to this girl, Erin, right? I will email you that. Just send it like that, because you can mention that, right? Okay.